Part 50. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 491. Although Yinhua is angry, he also knows that the root of this matter lies in the Gong family. This demon flower looks stupid at first glance, and it is the kind that helps with the number of spirit stones after being sold. However, he still relied on Yehua to justify his losses and put forward a lot of conditions. The Yehua was very excited at first, but due to the constraints of the Gong family and her guilty conscience, she never agreed even if she was heartbroken. Now it doesn't want to follow the Gong family anymore, but it is easy to get caught and go to alchemy if she leaves alone. So Yinhua is still a good contract candidate. Whether it's the demon flower's heartbeat or the feeling that Yinhua is the most suitable candidate for the palace cauldron, it all lies in the purity of Yinhua's physique. Yinhua, like Guyao, was originally a relic of the Tianling tribe, and he was also related to Guyao. After recognizing it, he has taken a lot of the transformative transformation pills refined by Guyao, and his spiritual roots are less than that of Guyao, so his physique is infinitely close to that of a clean body. But before the contract, the troubles must be relieved first, just as the Gong family came to the door. Guyao's eyes flashed with coldness, and before he saw Gongding's face, this person left him with an extremely hypocritical and shameless impression. Such a person has such a good reputation outside, isn't it just hypocrisy, created by deliberately covering up his nature? Shameless is shameless in not only forcibly capturing others as furnaces, but also maliciously smearing furnaces. This time, they were in time to save Uncle and Zhou, but what about the monks who fell into the hands of the Gong family before? Those people's physiques must also be somewhat special, but in the hands of the Gong family, the only way to go is to run out of oil and light, and quietly disappear into this spiritual world. Hateful. Let the poor monk come. Lu Su stretched out his hand and grabbed Yao Huaxu twice, and then pulled out the spirit power band that was branded by the Gong family from the spirit of the fairy flower. The group of soul power bands seemed to want to escape, but how could escape from the empty palm? The cultivator who left this restriction should be left by the one with the highest cultivation base in the palace family at the peak of Mahayana. As long as his cultivation base does not exceed him, there is no way to strip this restriction, and a single thought will it can obliterate the sanity of the demon flower. The big flower that the demon flower was holding trembled violently, and the voice was sent into the minds of several people. They lied to me. They lied to me. Brother, they are bad people. Hello. So stupid. Yinhua felt that he didn't see it. Is it really good to accept such a pet? Won't hold back. Outside, the token in Gongding's hand did not respond at first, and it was impossible to determine the direction of the demon flower based on this token. Gongding and his party were dizzy and confused by the fragrance. Gongding was in a hurry. What the is going on? Could it be that the monster flower is out of control? Impossible. The ancestor said that unless the strength exceeds the ancestor, this demon flower will always be under the control of the Gong family, which has brought a lot of benefits to the Gong family over the years. Even if this demon flower is discovered one day, no one will suspect that it is the demon flower, not the Gong family, who is doing the wrong thing. Young master. The guard beside him fell down, but his face showed intoxication. I don't know what dream he was sleeping in. If no one wakes up, the end result is that he can't sleep, and he will be intoxicated in his dream forever. World. Just when Gongding's own consciousness was getting more and more confused, the token suddenly responded again. Gongding was overjoyed. The first order he gave Yaohua was to control the fragrance in the Yufu, and his brain suddenly became a lot more awake. Gongding was relieved. Maybe something happened just now. The demon flower is still under control. All this was done under the illusion of a virtual thought. It can be isolated if you think about isolation, and if you don't want to be isolated, he is in the palm of his hand. The group of soul power restraint can communicate with the token in Gongding's hand, but the order issued by Gongding was received by Su. Just like that, Gongding brought himself to Suetal step by step. When he saw these monks staying with Yaoi, especially when the soul power in Su's hand was restricted, where would he still be? Not knowing what was going on, he turned around and wanted to run, including the guards who were with him. But the next moment they hit an invisible barrier and bounced back again with a bang. Gongding screamed badly, who did he recruit? Thinking about it right and left is not right, he just can't figure it out. How can there be a great power involved when he usually acts cautiously enough? These thoughts flashed in a flash, and Gongding, who got up from the ground, endured the pain, put on a humble and polite appearance and gave the virtual salute. I don't know which senior is coming, the junior Gongding has seen the senior. Yinhua came out from behind and sneered, Master Gong, how are you doing recently? The two of us have been chased by you and have nowhere to hide. Now it's time for you to taste it? Gongding's pupils shrank slightly, but smiled on his face. It turns out that it is Daoyin. Gong Mao admires Daoyin, sincerely pursues Daoyin and wants to become a Taoist partner. Compared with Daoizhou, Gong Mao is more suitable for Daoyin in every aspect. I've seen a shameless person, I've never seen such a shameless person. No matter how bad Zhou goes, he won't even think about taking my life. Are you looking for a Taoist companion? You're killing people. Yinhua was furious, but turned around and laughed again, looking at Gongding Dao carefully. Then I'll put it another way, in my opinion, Gong Xiao's skin is very good, and his spiritual power is quite strong. I will train it for a while. Definitely I believe that there are many cultivators in this spiritual world who can become a candidate for the furnace, right? Gong Xiao, do you think it is good to do this? Oh, this is angry. I will definitely find a condition for you to compare with family backgrounds. The Gong family is even better than a monk, and such a Daoist, Gong Xiao, should be disliked? You think that the more angry Gongding is, the happier Yinhua is, and the robber is not as shameless as Gongding, yet he still uses the banner of sincere pursuit of a Daoist. I don't know. Has anyone been deceived like this before and handed over their cultivation and life? Why, when the knife falls on you, you know it hurts. Gongding could no longer maintain his modest appearance, his forehead was full of blue veins, and his warm image became extremely ferocious in an instant. Scholars can be killed, but you can kill me if you have the ability, and see if the Gong family will let you go. Yinhua sneered, it's humiliation to fall on yourself? Why did you just persuade me just now? You. Gongding's aura became more and more violent. Uncle, how can this person be dealt with? Guyao walked to Yinhua's side, and Zhou was also eager to move. Yinhua glared at Zhou, don't do it, I don't want him to die so happily. Xiaoao, is there any way to speed up his state? Isn't he looking for looting to solve the hidden dangers on his body? I don't think so. Let him do his best, it's better to explode in an all-round way, and finally die on his own hidden dangers. Gongding's pupils shrank suddenly. He and Yinhua and Zhou had been together for a while, but he had never heard of Yinhua's relatives in the spiritual world. This monk who called him uncle came here specifically to find Yinhua, and he didn't regret it. Yes, I thought I was looking for someone without any background, just like before, it suddenly disappeared, except that my friends would find it for a while, and I couldn't get rid of the waves at all. What made him vigilant the most was the seemingly harmless monk in front of him. What was his origin? Without knowing Guyao's identity, no matter how famous the blood slaughter monk is, no one will think about him when he encounters a powerful monk. He still tried his best to say, this senior, the junior has eyes and does not know Mount Tai. The Gong family will apologize for this matter. I hope that the senior will forgive the junior for the sake of the Gong family, and the Gong family will be grateful. Guyao flicked his sleeves and pulled him out. The guards who followed him wanted to protect the master, but they were all stopped by Wei Wei. The guards brought out by Gongding were only fit. This world is unscrupulous, but who made them unexpectedly weak in the strength of Guyao and the others. Gongding lay on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Senior, spare your life, the Gong family." Guyao heard him mention the Gong family again, and then pulled out his sleeves again. The people on the ground flew high again, and then fell heavily. The spiritual energy in the body that was originally restless rolled up more violently, and the blood vessels on the face and subcutaneous. "It seems to break out." Guyao pumped again, until in the end Gongding couldn't even utter a word. He didn't know how much blood he vomited, but the blood vomited relieved his symptoms a little. When he saw Guyao walking towards him, he was lying on the ground. There was flinch in his eyes, but there was nowhere to hide. Damn, he didn't even know the identity of the enemy until now. He swears that as long as he survives, these will pay 100 times the price. But such a person, Guyao, will let him live? Think he didn't see Gongding's hatred hidden deep in his eyes? Of course, if he learns Su's true identity, I am afraid that the first choice made by the entire Gong family is to personally deliver the Gongding to them and break their tails to survive. After half a day, Guyao and his party left the Yufu. Of course, the demon flowers in the Yufu left with them, but before leaving, they still set up layers of illusions, and Guyao couldn't say anything. The palace cauldron was trapped in these formations, repeating over and over again the scene of his going into the devil. Life is better than death. After another day, a saying came out from many cities in Nanzhou, that is, the abandoned mansion in Nanzhou that was regarded as strange by the monks was actually controlled by the Gong family, in order to lure the monks in, and the Gong family obtained it from it. The good thing is that the cultivators who have disappeared in the remains over the years have actually fallen into the hands of the Gong family, and most of them have been reduced to the palace's furnace. At the same time, the drawbacks of Gongding's physique were also exposed, and the Gong family was born with this physique every few generations, and the growth of this kind of genius was the price of the life of the furnace ding that they plundered in the past. The whole Nanzhou was in an uproar. Often walking by the river, how can you not wet your shoes? Are the monks captured by the Gong family over the years really without background? Not quite. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 492. Regarding the rumors outside, the Gong family initially dismissed it as nonsense, but then the topic of physique and furnace cauldron made them immediately realize that something was wrong. When they knew that Gongding had brought people to the Yufu, they immediately dispatched experts from the clan to go there. The Yufu checked the situation, and at the same time put pressure on the outside world to try to wash the White House home. It's just that no matter how powerful the Gong family is, it is impossible to cover the sky with one hand in Nanzhou. Especially the competitors of the Gong family are extremely welcome to such a situation. The rumors can spread so quickly. Who said there is no pusher behind them? They originally wanted to test the Gong family's reaction, but after seeing their actions, it was clear that the people who spread the rumors were obviously holding the Gong family's handle. When the people of the Gong family entered the Yufu to find the palace cauldron, which was tortured by the illusion, a few cultivators outside also attacked another son of the palace family who was once known as a genius. Gongding lost his sanity, his dantian and all the meridians in his body were also destroyed, and none of them were intact. His former practice of imaginary cultivation also fell to nascent soul, and in the ruptured dantian, that nascent soul was also facing the possibility of collapse and disintegration at any time. Dangerous. The most important thing is that there is no trace of the demon flower in the palace. Up to now, the Gong family still can't guess how the situation of the Gong family was exposed. Who else could be besides the demon flower? The senior officials of the palace immediately ordered a comprehensive search for the demon flower. The behavior of the demon flower was regarded as a betrayal by them. This time they caught it and directly put it into the pill furnace to refine it into a pill. But the Gong family just came out of the Yufu to go back to the Gongjia, and the way was blocked. Several monks were guarding outside the Yufu. They were half believing the rumors, but they couldn't help but believe the evidence they saw with their own eyes. The UFO is a trap set up by the Palace family. Okay, what a Palace family, all of them are sanctimonious, hypocritical, and shameless, and give back my daughter's life. The one-body monk rushed up and killed the Gong family monk. He was a loose cultivator, but he loved the only daughter under his knees. Such as jewelry, but my daughter and others went into the UFO to explore and never came out. At that time, his strength was not good, and he went to the UFO to investigate and did not find out the competition. He could only put it on the strangeness of the UFO, but now I know it. The daughter was taken away by the Gong family. My Dao companion is also gone in the UFO, and the Gong family is too deceiving. A male cultivator with red eyes made a ruthless move. Where's my younger brother? Where did your Gong family take my younger brother? Return my younger brother. The group of monks from the Gong family were blocked at the exit of the UFO. Even if the Gong family picked monks who had no background, it would be a lot of power to accumulate, not to mention that many of them attacked desperately, and in the end only the remaining 2 or 3 people escaped, and the palace cauldron, which had been destroyed with only one breath left, became the target of everyone, and it didn't take long for it to die completely. In the Gong family, a figure floated up, opened his mouth a few times, but the voice came from far away. Gong Lao, is my granddaughter's death related to your palace family? Gong Lao, when the old man was fooled by you and married his granddaughter into your palace family, she didn't die in the process of going out, right? Is it considered a cauldron by your palace family? The sound is more shocking than the sound, and it stimulates layers of air waves. There are places where the prohibition of the formation is weak, and the building is directly destroyed. Your surname is you. What kind of nonsense did you hear outside? What kind of relationship do you and I have? How can I be that ruthless and unrighteous person? Old ancestor Gong denied the situation outside before he came up. Okay, fine you Gong Lao, if you don't want to admit it, then I will directly take your grandson to search the soul to see if your Gong family is affectionate or ruthless and shameless. The old man shouldn't have mistrusted you. My granddaughter is gone, your grandson should go down and accompany her. The old man's figure flashed, and he passed old ancestor Gong and went straight to his good grandson-in-law. Old ancestor Gong stopped without thinking, but the more he blocked, the more the old man felt that there was a big problem with the Gong family. There was something suspicious about death, so the two fought in the sky above the palace, and the buildings of the palace below collapsed, and many servants with low cultivation levels died. The situation of this old man hitting the palace door was seen by many monks, and it spread in Nanzhou at a faster speed. The monks who thought it was not credible now also suspect that he has entered the palace. After all, the old man's status is not low. In a city on the border of Nanzhou, Guyao and the others were dining in a restaurant, and they heard a lot of discussion downstairs, and the most talked about was the matter that the senior hit the palace. Who is this senior you? Guyao asked curiously. I know, Wei Wei replied, Senior Yu and the ancestor of the Gong family are equally famous, and they are also monks at the peak of Mahayana. It is not so easy to cross the door without going through the robbery. The two have been famous for a long time. It's a character. I heard that I was a confidant back then, so I became an in-law, and the object of my predecessor's granddaughter's marriage is now the head of the palace family. To say that he can secure the position of the head of the family is actually due to the senior's reason. The first Dao companion, he said at the beginning that he died unfortunately while practicing outside the calendar. Back then, the master of the palace guarded for the Taoist companion for 100 years, and it was not until 100 years later that he married the second Taoist companion, which is the current one. Now, looking at the reaction of the palace family, I am afraid that the death of the predecessor's granddaughter would not be the case. It's as simple as it looks on the surface. Yin Hua said angrily, it is estimated that he almost fell into trouble in this matter, so later the people of the Gong family put their ideas on those loose cultivators who had no background, and they should have also trained the furnace in secret. Some of them are directly placed on the bright side, and there will be many transactions on the bright side, but the Gong family needs a reputation, so how can they blatantly do these criticized things? The most important thing is that the Gong family does not want to let it people know the handle of their practice, know this weakness, and then take a shot at the geniuses of the Gong family. They can specialize in these weaknesses. The two peak Mahayana monks fought fiercely, and in the end they were evenly matched, so Senior Yu could only put down his harsh words and leave. Although they are evenly matched, the main battlefield is in the Gong family, so the loss of the Gong family is not light compared to the predecessors. When the incident happened, the Gong family master of the Gong family had just shown his head and then retracted back to find out what was outside. The situation did not dare to show up again, making Senior Yu look down on his former grandson-in-law more and more, and regret marrying his granddaughter into this wolf's den. But as long as he is here one day, this palace family can't imagine peace. The Gong family is troubled by their own troubles, and there is no manpower to find the Yaoi who escaped from the Yufu and the cultivator who took it away. It is impossible for the Yaoi to strip the soul from the soul, and these rumors are obviously that someone is there. The people who were released behind the scenes knew that these people were there, but the Gong family felt helpless with them. Although the Gong family was hurt by this incident, and the culprit, Gong Ding, had died, neither Guyao nor Yin Huazhu could put it down completely, but they were weak. The big forces in Nanzhou, even if their forces shrink, will not immediately follow in the footsteps of the Bai family in Shandongzhou. After Yin Hua touched the contract with him, it turned into a demon flower with 2 leaves attached to his wrist, and said that we should leave Nanzhou first. This palace will be left to me and Zhou to clean up in the future. I don't believe that we have arrived. Not that day, you say? Zhou has never been so suffocated in Wanluo continent. The disparity in strength is really too great. A demon cultivator who has just refined the void, a cultivator at the peak of Mahayana can blow his breath to death. But the more aggrieved, the more he refused to admit defeat. He nodded seriously and said, yes, he will stand upright in front of the Gong family and tell them that the bugs that they can only step on will one day make them tremble. Rather than letting Guyao invite Master Su to take the shot, he would prefer to fight the Gong family in person one day. Although Gong Ding is dead, Gong Ding is not so unscrupulous because of the power of the Gong family. 8. Even if Gong Ding died, they would not be able to escape this disaster. Let's go to Bizhu, Guyao said. After emptying the space, the group of people rolled up and disappeared on the border of Nanzhou. When the Gong family freed their hands to check the whereabouts of Yaoi and the cultivator who took him away, they searched the entire Nanzhou to no avail. Similarly, that is called Yin Hua and Zhou 2 monks also completely disappeared. But now the Gong family can no longer wantonly search for the 2 monks Yin Hua and Zhou in Nanzhou. Senior Yu and old ancestor Gong wanted to break through Mahayana to become a tribulation transcendence cultivator as if they were competing. The 2 who had torn their faces could only end their grievances once one of them became a tribulation transcendence master. Bizhu is exactly where Guyao stayed before, and it is also the location of Jianyu. The style of Bizhu is different from other places. Bizhu is a place dominated by sword cultivators, and it is far away from Nanzhou. One south and one north correspond to each other. Guyao thought that let Uncle and Zhou be here. It is safest to settle down, and the influence of Nanzhou cannot reach here. Bizhu and Anzhou are also adjacent to each other. Guyao believes that Zhou will also like it here. It is much more convenient to go to Anzhou here, and many magic cultivators will come to Bizhu. After Wei Wei landed, he said goodbye to Guyao and the others, and went back to Dingxian Pavilion. Guyao thanked him and asked him to accompany him on a special trip. Zhang Jingfeng and Wei Wei didn't help in this matter, and they didn't find it so quickly. Uncle, maybe Uncle is going to be blocked by Gong Ding and his party in the Yufu. Yin Hua and Zhou came here to stroll around, and they really liked it, So they settled in a city with more scattered cultivators. Because Chi Chang'ai didn't come out so soon, Gu Yao returned to his old business, opened a shop, and left it to his uncle to take care of it. Su Chen couldn't be idle, and went out to travel with Su Su, so there were only Gu Yao and Yin Huafufu in this humble shop. Well, they finally got together when they were in Wanluo continent, because Yin Hua felt that double cultivation was beneficial. His strength has improved faster, so he should come to the spiritual world earlier, and Zhou, of course, the meat delivered to his mouth will not be pushed out. At first, there were not many cultivators in this shop, but the three of them were very happy. They closed the door and practiced in seclusion when no one was there. They suffered such a big loss in Nanzhou. Yinhua and Zhou took cultivation as their first priority. It's a big deal, I'm waiting for the day to return to Nanzhou. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 493. Zhang Hua and a few friends were wandering around the market at Wool. They recently saved up a pen spirit stone. They don't know whether to use the spirit stone to buy a medicinal pill to improve their cultivation, or to add a supply of supplies as before and continue to leave the city. Hunting experience. I have been out for a lot of time this time, and when I came back to the city, I planned to rest for a while. Because there was not enough healing pills, each of them had some injuries on their bodies, and they needed time to recover slowly. Ordinary healing pills, it doesn't work that fast. They are all sword cultivators, and they are naturally talking about swords and sword cultivators. Recently, the wind in Bizhu has changed a bit. The most talked about is a sword cultivator who has never appeared in Bizhu. It is said that he is also a loose cultivator like us. Zhang Hua heard people mention it when he was practicing outside. I know about this, that Jiangzi's surname is Qi. He has nothing to envy, but what makes people envious is his ability to find a Taoist companion, and find a place a Dan cultivator with excellent alchemy skills. If he wants any elixirs, the Taoist companions will hold them in both hands. Hey, I heard that some sword cultivators want to go to Lingzhou to practice. Maybe they can bring an alchemist and Taoist companion back. It's more realistic for them to dream. The alchemist in Lingzhou, which eyes are not on the top of the head, can they see the monks in other states? Of course, unless they are the top geniuses of the big sects, they themselves are born with jade trees. Linfen looks very good, but such a cultivator must not lack the supply of medicine pills. A few people walked into an alley aimlessly, and saw a monk coming out of a shop. He glanced at them a few times when he passed by them, and then walked away, causing Zhang Hua and the others to stare at them. He watched the monk's back for a long time, until he turned a corner and couldn't see anyone. Is that a fit monk? A fit monk ran into this alley to buy things. No, you look at that store. It used to sell groceries, and no one came to patronize it. Now looking at the sign, it seems that the store has changed. Why don't you go in and have a look? Then go in and have a look. After a few people said that, they raised their feet and walked towards the store. When they entered the store, they looked around. The first impression was, hey, this store is quite quiet. There are some jade bottles with medicinal pills scattered around the counter. As for the magic charms, it's enough to have fewer counters, but even these counters are not full. What about people? When I looked again, I saw that inside the counter, a black cat was squatting on a high shelf, with a dark green ball under its paws. Unnamed flower. A cultivator suddenly laughed out loud. No way, this black cat beast is the guy in the shop. Could it be that the fit senior was also entertained by this little guy? Hee, show us this bottle of medicine pill. The black cat pushed away the ink ball under its paws, and the ink ball immediately became a dark green blanket, making Zhang Hua and the others stunned. It is a different plant, So the potted flower that is placed in the window and fluttering in the wind is not an ordinary flower. The black cat walked gracefully, shook its whiskers, stepped on the air to the front of the counter, glanced at the medicine pill that the cultivator pointed to, stretched out its paws, and meowed twice, 10,000 mid-grade spirit stones, thank you. What? This pill is worth 10,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Are you a black cat robbing us of spirit stones? Where's your master? Tell your master to come out. The cultivator was shocked when he heard the price. Jump. The black cat glared at him disdainfully, meow, it's not a second price. Then he turned around and jumped back to the shelf. Don't buy it if you don't like it. He's not willing to wait for it. Asterisk. A branch of the dark green blanket stretched out and smoked the black cat, which means to do business well and be optimistic about the store. The black cat bared his teeth at the dark green blanket, but he stayed and continued to stare at the monks. Zhanghua tried to negotiate, would you like to let us see the quality of the medicinal pill first? The head of the black cat said, 10,000 mid-grade spirit stones, thank you, this means that if you don't buy it, you won't be allowed to see it. The other monks couldn't help laughing and laughing. This shop owner is not sincere in doing business, right? Forget it, let's go and see other shops. Zhanghua felt a little weird. This medicinal pill is used to heal wounds. If it is of good quality, a single medicinal pill can offset a long period of recuperation. Bring it. Hey, Zhanghua, you're crazy. Others quickly stopped him. If you lie, Black Cat Beast, we'll beat you up. Some people also threatened Black Cat. The Black Cat glared at them disdainfully and threatened him. Can't burn these guys to death. He took the bag containing the spirit stones with a hook of his fingernails. With his divine sense, he found that a single spirit stone was not bad. He waved his claws casually, and a jade bottle flew out from the storage ring on his claws. In front of Zhanghua quickly reached out to catch it, and deliberately glanced at the black cat's paw, and couldn't help feeling jealous. This black cat beast's storage ring looks better than the one he uses, and is it really good to put these medicinal pills on the black cat beast? The companion urged, quickly check the quality of the medicine pill. Zhanghua couldn't wait to open the jade bottle, looked inside, and immediately put the stopper back again. With just one glance, his heart was beating fast. Zhanghua, I didn't misunderstand, that's... His companion also asked in disbelief when he saw it. Zhanghua nodded again and again, that's right, there is a top-grade pill in it, and the middle-grade pill of the same kind can be bought at most with 10,000 medium-grade spirit stones, but now it's a top-grade pill. He grabbed the jade bottle tightly and asked carefully, you didn't give the wrong medicine to the black cat beast. Although he was reluctant to let it go, if the black cat took the wrong medicine pill, it would cause a lot of losses to the store owner. The black cat looked at him again, meow meow, you took the wrong medicine pill, and you don't like to buy it and return it. He tried to return the bag. No, I'll buy it, Zhanghua swallowed. The other people's eyes were also bright, and they rushed to the front of the counter, pointing to several medicinal pills in a row. Each of them said, are they all 10,000 mid-grade spirit stones? The black cat said arrogantly, yes, hand in the spirit stone in one hand and deliver it in the other hand. Give us the same, several people said in unison. The black cat's claws stretched out, and several people couldn't wait to hand over the spirit stone. After the black cat checked, he waved his claws again, and the medicine pill bottle flew out again and landed in front of them. The result of the inspection made them show ecstasy again. Immediately, he replaced all the spirit stones on his body with medicinal pills. When he left, he only hated that he had too few spirit stones on his body, and wished he could buy all the medicinal pills in the store. When I went out, I pinched my face until I felt the pain, and called Yaoi, it's not a dream, it's all true, my God, we actually bought the best pill with these spirit stones, the owner of this shop. Who is that, just putting out the best pills for sale? Let's go, I've thought of a way to earn spirit stones. Let's go, let's talk about it first. No one can reveal this matter first. I understand, it must not be spread out asterisk. Several people immediately split up and sold the medicinal pills in their hands to buyers. However, they came back to the store with the spirit stones. Fortunately, they were not too greedy, and they kept the medicinal pills they were using. Stayed. But when they came to the store again, they saw that the store was closed, and instantly felt like they had fallen to the bottom of the valley. Wouldn't they not open the door again? They didn't know that after they left, the black cat beast, the cub, closed the door of the store with a wave of his hand, turned around and ran to the pill room in the backyard, and went to go to Guyao. The shop opened for a long time and received two groups of customers. The first one was Wei Wei, who made an appointment to come over to fetch the medicinal pills for Zhang Jingfeng. At the same time, Wei Wei also left behind the spirit grass for the next batch of medicinal pills. These orders are the only ones. This store is the biggest source of business, otherwise it will be closed for a few days without a single customer coming. This is not the first time Wei Wei has dealt with black cats and beasts, and he didn't go in specifically to disturb Guyao. When he was going out, he heard people talking about Qi Changjai and Guyao. He just thought it was funny, so he looked at those people a few more times. The alchemist they envy is in the shop behind it. It has been open for more than a month, and none of the monks in Bazhu have found it, which shows that they are unlucky. Guyao rewarded the newly released elixir to the cubs, and Mou and illusory demon who followed up later also got a share. I finished the medicinal pill, but I thought of the strange fire on this person's body, and I extinguished the idea. Besides, the black cat beast is not easy to mess with. It is very good to be able to share a medicinal pill. The illusory demon has gone to find its owner beautifully, and it will become more beautiful as it grows. The shop is purely a thing to pass the time. Guyao didn't want to rely on it to earn spirit stones, so when he was happy, he let Xiao Xiao go to guard the shop. Although the medicinal pills in the shop were not high, they were basically 5 grades and 4. Of course, based on his success rate, he still has a big head. It's just that the magic talisman that my uncle put in the shop hasn't been sold yet, and Guyao is still counting on the elixir to bring the talisman there. You must know that my uncle's talent is in making talismans, and the quality of those magic talismans is absolutely excellent. As long as you use it, you will definitely have repeat customers. As a result, because of such a reckless shopkeeper and unprofessional staff, Zhang Hua and the others took turns to stand outside for 10 days. When they thought that the shop was really closed for only one transaction, they finally waited. When the shop opened for business again, several people had the urge to cry. If it was really closed, they would have lost a lot of money by selling the medicinal pills. Fortunately, it was fortunate. Dude Black Cat, we want to buy medicinal pills, and give us 3 bottles of these. Yes, and me. This time, the few people spent all their spiritual stones on their bodies, but before leaving, they asked the black cat beast what time the store would usually open. Let's go, we're closing. Zhang Hua twitched the corners of his mouth, such a willful shopkeeper and shop assistant. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 494. When Yin Hua and Zhou Hu came out, the deserted shop had changed a lot. What happened to the crowded monks at the door? Huh? Isn't it the black cat beast guy today? Is the shop owner finally showing up? Yin Hua, who was discovered by the monk who was waiting to open the door, said Digi. It's been more than half a year, and they still haven't figured out who this shop belongs to, but the reputation of this shop named Gucci has spread. They earned a lot of spirit stones, but they were often found out by the cultivators who often shot the best pills, so they found this shop. Zhang Hua and the others did not want to continue this business. The spirit stones earned by this store were enough for them to use for a long time. Even now, the competition is big, and it is more difficult for them to buy medicine pills. A lot. If it weren't for the limited supply of pills every time this store opens, plus it only supplies 5 grade 4 grade pills, it is estimated that it would not be able to stay in this corner safely, but this is the case. How many times have you been here for more than half a year? Xiao also caught a lot of monks who slipped into the backyard, tied the bundles, fascinated, and then threw them out. The monks who passed by in the daytime would pick up a lot of people. In such a situation, the colleagues could only turn a blind eye, but every time they would send a cultivator in to grab the medicine pill, and then make all kinds of clichés to the black cat and beast, trying to inquire about the situation of the shopkeeper and the medicine master. The alchemist dug out. Yinhua guessed what was going on by looking at their expressions, and said with a smile, "Yes, I am one of the owners of this store, and the magic amulets sold in the store are all made by me. I hope you will give me more after using them." Opinion. As far as his nephew's alchemy technique was, no matter how deep it was hidden, it would still be excavated. "Haha boss, give me a dozen." "No, boss, I have all the magic symbols in the store, so I wonder if we can meet that alchemist." "A dozen? Can. All inclusive?" "No problem." Yinhua sold out the stock of spirit talismans in the store in a few neat strokes. He was very satisfied when he counted the spirit stones. Sure enough, these guys came for his nephew. "Alchemist? All the medicinal pills in the store are made by my nephew when he is idle. Don't worry, I will speak kind words for you too in front of my nephew." It turned out to be the nephew of the boss. The boss and nephew really are the best of the best. It's amazing. "Yes, do you still have the talisman of the boss? You can see that the boss is a master of the talisman, and the magic talisman produced must be of a high level." "That's right, only with his uncle can he have his nephew." Yinhua smiled and accepted all the compliments without saying a word. Then he asked the black cat beast to hand over all the medicinal pills sold today, and the one with the highest price would get it. When she took it back, there were still many monks staying in the store to be close to Yinhui Tao. How could Yinhua get caught by these guys? He started out in business and dealt with all kinds of people. Apart from knowing that the alchemist's identity is his nephew, those people couldn't inquire about other circumstances, but Zhou, who later after this black-faced came in, he had been standing behind Yinhua, staring at these monks who were close to Yinhui Tao, which was very scary. This time, because of Yinhua's appearance, the time to open the door was longer than any time before. However, they will also find out that this time is just a special case, and after a long period of time, even the black cat beast disappeared. Because Yinhua is out of the customs this time, he is about to start preparing for the calamity. In the past 6 months, there has been a sufficient supply of spirit stones, as well as offerings of top-grade pills. Coupled with the contract with the illusory demon, the illusory demon's cultivation has surpassed Yinhua, so this retreat has soared. After the shop closed, Guyao took his uncle and Zhou out of the city. Of course, the cubs were taken away together, ready to wait until the uncle had finished the calamity and consolidated his cultivation base before coming back to open the shop. So let the monks who have been guarding this store disappointed again and again, and once again thought that the store was completely closed this time. Thousand Swords Gate. Senior brother, I have found a good alchemist." A sword light wrapped a monk and swept towards one of the mountain peaks. Before anyone came, the voice had already arrived. In Yuanguang City, there was an alchemist. The master sells the top-grade pills of the 5th grade and 4th grade medicinal herbs. Senior brother, your injury is saved this time. What does it look like at first glance? With a sharp rebuke, the cultivator who was driving the sword light almost fell down, and found that his master was standing on the mountain peak, and the pale-faced senior brother was standing behind him, watching. When Jiangziu slowed down, the master scolded again, "Have you half-hearted what you said? Why don't you hurry up and tell me what's going on? Hurry up." Jiangxiu hurriedly swooped down on the mountain, walked a few steps to the master, carefully took out a jade bottle and brought it to the master, saying, "This is the medicine pill I bought at a high price from someone else," and said it was the shop. Almost all of the top quality pills sold were sold at a very low price at first, and then they were put up. "Get that medicine pill to make medicine for your brother." The master took a look at the jade bottle, and it was indeed a top-grade pill, the appearance of which was the best among the pills he had ever seen, and his expression softened a little. "Have you asked about the background of that pill, master? Alchemist, can you make the medicinal pill your senior brother needs?" Jianqiu scratched his head. "Master, no one has seen the face of that alchemist since the shop opened, and all the monks who wanted to hit the shop were thrown out. The level should not be bad, right? No matter what, I think it's okay to try it, maybe it can cure the wound on senior brother's body." The master was worried that the level of this alchemist was too low, and that the injury on his eldest disciple would only be completely healed by a top-grade pill refined by a third-rank alchemist. But how difficult this is in Bizhu, even if it is out of Bizhu, it is not easy to do. The price offered by the third-grade alchemists in Lingzhou, their master and apprentice simply cannot pay. Senior brother said at this time, "Master, why don't you let me and junior brother give it a try? It's just as if we went to Yuanguang City to relax and stay here all the time. Something will happen." The master sighed and said, "Well, I have a little friendship with the city owner of Yuanguang City, and I will personally send you there." In this way, the three masters and apprentices came to Yuanguang City and entered the city lord's mansion. The city owner of Yuanguang City is also a sword cultivator, and he welcomes his friends very much. Everyone got straight to the point, and the city lord said after hearing this, "I have heard of the alchemist you mentioned, but since only the 5th grade and 4th grade elixirs have been produced so far, I have not interfered with that alchemist, but you might as well ask." As the city lord said that, he called the steward in the city lord's mansion and planned to have someone take him to the shop. He knew why his friend's disciple was injured and how he was injured. It would be a pity if he didn't heal. When the steward came over and heard about this, he quickly said, "City lord, that shop has closed recently. The owner of the shop has gone out, and the return date is uncertain. This is because the person guarding the shop found that no one came out to open the shop for a long time, which exceeded the original longest period, so he tried to knock on the formation in the backyard, and as a result, he got the message left by the owner from the formation, and the owner went out to return. Not sure, this matter has already spread in the city, because there are many people in the city lord's mansion who pay attention to that shop, so the steward also knows." The city lord had to look at his friend apologetically. Master Deng Jixu waved his hand and said, "This has nothing to do with the city lord. It's our unfortunate coincidence that we got the news too late. If we had been one step earlier, we would have been able to catch up." The city owner suggested, "Why don't you go back first? I will let the people in the house watch, and they will send a message to you as soon as they come back, and you will come back soon." Just as Deng Jixu was about to agree, the younger disciple quickly said, "Master, why don't I and my senior brother live in Yuanguang City for a while? It just so happens that I accompany my senior brother to relax. Yuanguang City is a pretty good place, better than my senior brother alone. It's good to be bored in Kinjianmen." Deng Jixu thought for a while and said, "All right, but you have to take good care of your senior brother. If you have any problems with your senior brother, you are the only one to ask." "Master, don't worry, my brother is wrapped around me." The brothers did not live in the city lord's mansion, but rented a yard near Guk's shop, so that they could know the news of the shop owner's return as soon as possible without notice from the city lord's mansion. It can also be worn by the shop owner to see them. Gu Yao didn't know that someone came to find him from outside, and he stayed there in order to wait for him. With him and Zhou Hu protecting Yin Hua, and the magic weapons that Gu Yao prepared for his uncle, this time the virtual robbery went very smoothly. Yinhua successfully became a cultivator after crossing the robbery, and he opened up in the deep mountains. After visiting a temporary cave, Yinhua retreated for a while, completely consolidating his cultivation in the early stage of virtual refining. After that, he practiced in this mountain range for a while before returning to Yuanguang City. This time has passed for more than half a year. The three of them didn't use their true face, and it was quite relaxed and comfortable to return to Yuanguang City. Yinhua was in a very good mood. After leaving Nanzhou, he did not relax and cultivate for almost a day, and finally he practiced emptiness, although he was still far away from his goal. But one day he will be able to achieve it. Although the monks in Bizhu are warlike, their atmosphere is much better than that in Nanzhou. It's actually quite good to have a home in Bizhu. Yinhua planned. Of course, the shop must be a temporary stronghold, otherwise Guyao's identity will be exposed. Open, that place can't help others stepping on it. What kind of identity should match what kind of residence? Guyao smiled and said, I heard that the scenery in Lingzhou is better. In a few years, my uncle will go to Lingzhou to take a look, maybe he will fall in love there again. Okay, listen to Xiaoyao. The three of them were talking, and before they turned into that alley, they could feel that the atmosphere ahead was not right, and it was quite a battle that was about to break out. What happened? The three of them speeded up and saw that in front of their shop, when two cultivators drew their swords to face each other, there was also a group of people preventing them from fighting in the city. Yuanjianmen are too deceiving. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 495. Ha, what's wrong with bullying Yuanjianmen? If you have the ability, come to our Wanjianmen, come and fight. This tone sounded cheap enough, but the names of the two sects that they said were called Guyao, and the three of them couldn't help but dig their ears. Qinjianmen. Wanjianmen. Why couldn't the founder of the sect choose the name Qinjianmen? Or is it that Wanjianmen was founded behind Qinjianmen and deliberately overwhelmed Qinjianmen? Guyao and the three of them just came back for a while. After listening to the discussion of the monks around, they felt that the two sects were really a big show. Because of the origin of the names, when the two sects were almost in harmony, the disciples met. It is a common thing to ridicule and criticize each other, and even if they disagree, they will fight each other. Have you seen that cultivator with a pale face? That is Zhou Lang from Qinjianmen, and Luo Fiheng from Wanjianmen is a sword cultivator of the same name, but he was defeated by the opponent when he competed for the place to enter the sword domain, and he was also beaten by the other side. The opponent was seriously injured, and it is said that the foundation was injured. Unless there is a top-quality 7 lights pill, it will be difficult to completely heal, but how can this pill be so good, unless, the Sudan who appeared in Anzhou some time ago shot, but no one now knows the whereabouts of Alchemy Su and Alchemist Gu. They came to this Guka shop to try their luck. Maybe the alchemist in the shop can help him. Even if he can't make the top grade 7 lights pill, the top grade pill of the 4th rank can greatly relieve his injury. For a long time, I didn't guard the owner of the shop, but I brought in the people from Wanjianmen. Yeah, the disciples of Wanjianmen didn't take the opportunity to ridicule those who attacked Qinjianmen. If the guards of the city lord's mansion hadn't rushed over, the disciples of these two sects would have fought long ago. Yinhua touched his chin and said, then they are making trouble in front of other people's stores, so they are not afraid that the owner of the store will come back and list both parties as objects of refusal to communicate with each other? Let's see what the trouble is. Have you been to Keishikao? Yinhua's voice is not small, and Zhou Lang, who has been persuading his junior brother, also heard it, and scolded his junior brother, if you still think I am a senior brother, just go back with me, because I am injured and my strength has decreased, so even my words are not. Can you stop listening? It really doesn't look good to make trouble like this in front of other people's stores. Although he doesn't have any hope of waiting day by day, it's not right. If you want to make trouble, you can go out of town to make trouble. Junior brother Joe Mintayo hurriedly denied, Senior brother, there is no junior brother, I am just angry, look at their arrogant appearance. He glared angrily at the gang of Wanjianmen. If the senior brother had any good or bad, he would never let these go. Okay, let's go back, don't let people make jokes. Senior brother only lost once, but as a monk, who can guarantee that he will never lose? Today, among the swordsmen in the spiritual world, only the senior swordsman is qualified to say it. Such words. Zhou Lang glanced coldly at the disciple of Wang Jianmen across from him, and dragged Zhou Mintao away. The crowd clapped their hands and applauded, no, except for Senior Sword Demon, which sword cultivator has never lost, even the disciples of Senior Sword Demon dare not say such words. Wang Jianmen has the ability to compete with the disciples of Sword Demon. By the way, bullying an already injured Jiangziu is such a good thing. Most sword cultivators have relatively positive views, they disdain to bully the weak, and if they have the ability, they will challenge those who are stronger, rather than show off by suppressing those who are weaker than themselves. The latter is only despised. The conflict between the two sects has been around for a long time. It is not just a few words that can die down. The disciples of Wang Jianmen have even competed with the two brothers Zhou Lang, and they have also found a place to live near this shop. When the master comes back, they will be one step ahead. Gu Yao murmured, so there are disciples from Wang Jianmen who also entered the sword territory. Saying this, he was about to meet Qi Changjai. Seeing that half of the time he entered Jianyu has passed, and I don't know how Qi Changjai is now, but it is certain that when Qi Changjai comes out of Jianyu, his cultivation will definitely be much higher than his. The progress of catching up will be pulled down again. It's still more important to practice. Gu Yao thought so in his heart and walked to the shop with his uncle and the others. No one in the dispersing crowd expected that the shop owner would come back after saying it. Many people lost hope, but they heard a click behind. Many people turned their heads suddenly, and saw three monks pushing open the store door and entering. It's really in. So the owner is back. Senior brother, look, the shop owner is back, let's go over there. Zhou Mintao was still angry just now, but at this moment he was only shocked, and dragged his senior brother to run back. The disciples of Wang Jianmen were also dumbfounded. Did Qin Jianmen really wait? Ah! The owner of this shop is actually back. What if you're back? You know that what Zhou Lang needs this week is a third-grade top-grade pill. If he really has the ability to make this kind of pill, who would be willing to stay in such an inconspicuous corner of Yuanguang City? Already. In any case, we also went to say hello to the owner. I heard that when the door was opened, almost all of the top-grade pills were sold, and our Wang Jianmen also needed them very much. It's better to draw the alchemists in this shop into their Wang Jianmen. With a steady stream of top-grade pill offerings, Wang Jianmen will sooner or later open Qin Jianmen a lot. The other monks also found out, so in an instant, a group of monks poured into the shop that had just opened, and the shop was about to be overturned. Ah, I know this fellow deist, isn't that fellow deist the talisman master in the shop? Some cultivators recognized Yin Hua, anyway Yin Hua and Zhou Hu have appeared, but Gu Yao has always been there from the beginning to the end. He was not in his early stage, so the eyes of others looking at him were very suspicious. Looking at his appearance, he did not look like an alchemist with a high level of alchemy. Yin Hua announced, I just came back from Weili Lian, so it's not open today. Those who want to buy things will be gone as early as tomorrow. Let's go. As soon as these words came out, a large part of the monks dispersed, and they were going to queue up early tomorrow morning to grab the elixir. It's also good to have a few defenses on hand. In the end, there were still 3 people who stayed behind, not to mention Qin Jianmen and Wang Jianmen, and the guards of the city lord's mansion did not leave. The owner of the shop is back, and the city owner will be very happy to hear the news. Yin Hua also politely said that we have opened a shop here, which has caused trouble to the city owner and everyone, and thanked the city owner for your care. Where is it? The leader of the team said goodbye with a smile and left. As soon as they left, Joe Mintayo ran over and said attentively, "Boss, that you are finally back. We waited for a long time, and it would be great if you came back." The disciples of Wang Jianmen also came over. "Boss, don't listen to their nonsense, boss, we are disciples of Wang Jianmen. Wang Jianmen is strong and powerful, and there are masters in charge, and I look forward to cooperating with the boss. If the boss is willing to join us, Wang Jian the door, Wang Jianmen will be warmly welcomed up and down." "Joe, are you finished yet?" Joe Mintayo's forehead jumped when he heard the other's words. He wanted to recruit the alchemists in the shop to Wang Jianmen, so as to completely block their back path, right? The disciple of Wang Jianmen said, "If you beg you, we will win over us, and we will all rely on our ability." As soon as they finished speaking, a strong force that made them irresistible sent them all out of the store, and then fell to the ground without any seriousness. The door of the store slammed shut behind them. Only then did they change their faces. The cultivators in this shop were stronger than they thought. They thought that the strongest ones were only the cultivators, but now it seems that it is far more than that. Wang Jianmen also made a fool of himself. After getting up, he snorted at Qin Jianmen and walked away. Joe Mintayo helped his senior brother up, but he was a little happy. Senior brother, maybe the alchemist in the store can really refine third-grade pills. Senior brother, we have been waiting for so long, and we will beg them more in the future, and we will definitely be able to let go of." Zhou Lang was also quite surprised. Could it be that the masters are really living in seclusion here? I couldn't bear to disappoint my younger brother, so I replied, "Okay." Joe Mintayo made up his mind to be soft and hard, so as soon as the store opened the next day, he ran in and took the initiative to help maintain order, robbing the black cat to do things, and the black cat simply turned him around. The disciples of Wang Jianmen also came to guard the store, but they just watched Joe Mintayo do white labor, and laughed at him in their hearts. The same is the need for pills, so I hurriedly sent a message to the door, hoping that a high-level person who could speak to him would come to pull people, and let the shopkeeper see the power of Wang Jianmen. A month later, Joe Mintayo is still busy in the store, working as a boy for the black cat beast, and also finds out that there are two other guys in the store. One is a dark green alien plant, and the other is the love plant that stayed at the window. The particularly stinky monster flower, and because of this, the owner of the shop became more and more mysterious in his eyes. When he went back and told his senior brother, Zhou Lang no longer stopped him from going to the shop to help, and he would also do what he could. On this day, a Jiangzi with a goatee walked in, and a coercion also enveloped the entire store. Zhou Lang, who happened to be in the store, turned even paler, with blood oozing from the corners of his mouth. Joe Mintayo was furious and glared at the people who came under the pressure. "Meow," the black cat beast screamed sharply, and the pressure receded like a tide. The visitor looked at the black cat beast covered in fried fur, and said with a stern face, "Where is your boss?" The old man is the elder of Wang Jianmen Feng, and he ordered a batch of medicinal pills from the store, and asked your boss to come out and interview the old man in person. When Zhou Lang and Zhou Mintayo saw this man, they remembered his identity. Qin Jianmen and Wang Jianmen knew each other well. How could the elder here not recognize him? At the same time, they were secretly worried that the shop owner would not be able to bear the pressure. Forced to come down. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 496. The black cat got angry, stretched out its paw and pointed at the wall, and then showed contempt. Can't recognize the words on the wall? It's not the first time that Guyao has encountered such a thing, but he doesn't want to take bulk orders at all. Instead, he can refine any pills he has. Most of the spirit grasses come from the spirit fields in the pill pavilion space because of his cultivation. Ascension, the expansion of space and the further improvement of the spiritual field grade, the spiritual grass of this level grows very fast. So he specially posted a notice, which read in big letters, "Orders will not be accepted." Of course, Elder Feng could see this notice, but he thought that this kind of statement was just enough to deal with small forces. Can Wanjianmen be the same as those small forces? So he still said firmly, "Let the shop owner come out." The old man is the Elder Feng of Wanjianmen, and the old man has to talk to the shop owner in person. Take a little beast to perfunctory him. He has a good temperament to fan this little beast out without a slap. Meow. Get out if you can't read the words. The black cat beast was also on fire, and came here to be the boss. Okay, you little beast. Elder Feng was also furious, reaching out his hand to capture the black cat beast. Elder Feng, please. Zhou Mintao and Zhou Lang were shocked. However, as soon as they shouted, they saw a few rays of light flashing, and then with a bang, a figure flew out of the store and fell to the ground. The remaining voices of senior brother Zhou Lang caught in their throats, and they could see it very clearly. Zhou Mintao touched his heart and asked his senior brother, "Senior brother, what kind of strength does Elder Feng have?" Zhou Lang swallowed his saliva. The elders of Wanjianmen, like Archanjianmen, have to cultivate together. Zhou Mintao's eyes bulged, and he choked his voice and said, "Then the three little ones can't fight the fit cultivator." Zhou Lang also wanted to ask, "But the facts are in front of you, not to mention that Elder Feng is not prepared, but your opponent will wait for you to be ready before making a move." As a swordsman, he would never say such a thing. At first, the Wanjianmen disciples didn't know that the Elder Feng came over, until someone was thrown out and alerted the other cultivators, and the Wanjianmen disciples also ran over, but at first glance they recognized them, so they ran over quickly. "Elder Feng, you." Elder Feng's face was flushed red, and he had never been so humiliated in this place. He stretched out his hand and pushed the disciples away, flew into the air, and pointed his sword at Guk's shop. "Good shop owner, let the evil beasts be arrogant, the old man will teach your shopkeeper a lesson today." To the rude beast. He was about to slash the entire store with a sword. The alarmed monk was shocked, and the guards in the city rushed to speed up. Dare to make trouble on the boundary of Yuanguang City? It is clear that the city lord's mansion is not taken seriously. Just when everyone thought that the shop could not withstand Elder Feng's sword, a fiery fire dragon suddenly jumped out from the backyard and attacked Elder Feng, who was standing in the air. One sword and one fire dragon collided head-on, and there was a roar of amazing power with a boom. The air waves rolled, and the monks with weaker cultivation were all thrown out by the air waves, but there was a flash of light around the shop, and the buildings inside, completely good and bad, not affected at all. Although Elder Feng took the fire dragon, his face was not good looking, and his body also retreated a few meters in the air before stopping, and looked at the courtyard below with a gloomy face. "Okay. Good. I don't know where the master came from. Hidden here? To teach this old man to know." The voice from the yard came out, "When you come to our store, follow the rules of the store. Since I'm hiding here, why do you think I'll sign up? If you don't agree, Wanjianmen will let the horse come over." The surrounding monks exploded with a bang, and there were many monks who disliked the excitement and applauded. This is too good to say, and they continued to fight if they disagreed. Now who can't see clearly, the people behind this shop are not weaker than the Elder Feng of Wanjianmen, at least they are monks in the early stage of integration. It is no wonder that those monks who wanted to touch the backyard were finally lost come out. You must know that the city lord of the city is also a fit cultivator. Guyao has considered the issue of strength when choosing a place to live. He must not only ensure the safety of his uncle, but also not be targeted in the past few years when Qi Changjai is away. It is very necessary to have a city with the strongest strength as a combination. The monks watching don't care about the identity of the shop owner, whether they are hidden or not, they only know that although it is hard to find, there is still a chance to buy the best pills. Looking at the entire spiritual world, where can there be such a good thing? Even the best pills in the spiritual world can't get their hands on them. Okay. The disciples of Wang Jianmen, go with the old man. Elder Feng asked for no fun and took all the disciples of Wang Jianmen away. It is impossible for him to continue to make trouble, otherwise he will alarm the city lord to take action himself. After all, it is not allowed in the city. Elder Feng walked on the front foot, and the guards from the rear foot arrived. Although the shop was protected by the formation, some surrounding buildings were damaged. Yin Hua personally came out to apologize to the surrounding neighbors and compensated them. Everyone did not blame them. The shop, after all, it is obvious that Wang Jianmen came to ask for trouble, and Wang Jianmen forced the shop owner to take action. Besides, he is a fit cultivator, so he would only offend if he couldn't think of it. The monks onlookers also had a little more respect for the shop owner. Originally they went for the medicinal pill, but now not only the medicinal pill, but also the strength of the shop owner. Even Elder Feng of Wang Jianmen was defeated. Zhou Lang and Zhou Mintao were still a little confused, but Elder Feng was actually beaten away by the shop owner? It still feels a little unreal. They were also protected by the shop's formation, and were not affected by the battle, but Zhou Lang was initially swayed by Elder Feng's coercion, and his qi and blood were a little churned, and the wounds that had stabilized showed signs of flare ups. Yin Hua, who came back from a lap outside, saw Zhou Lang's face was white for a while, then flushed again, and threw a pill and went over. Use it first, to stabilize the injury, count the reward for visiting the store, and then let's talk about you. It was also the injury from the shop. Zhou Lang hurriedly caught the jade bottle and opened it to see that it was a 4th-grade healing pill. Needless to say, the owner of the shop must have shot a top-grade pill, but he felt ashamed of it. Brother, take it quickly, and thank the boss when you are well. Zhou Lang nodded, thanked Yin Hua, and went back to his residence to take medicine pills to recuperate. The best pill is good. After digesting most of the medicinal power, Zhou Lang's condition is even better than before. Although he could not completely repair the injured foundation, it is not impossible to use a little spiritual power, and even his complexion looks much better. Not to mention Zhou Lang, even Zhou Mintao was very grateful to the owner, and the monk next to him saw Zhou Qi's appearance and knew that he was a blessing in disguise. Wang Jianmen wanted to stop Zhou Lang from healing his wounds, but he didn't expect Zhou Lang to be blessed because of their Wang Jianmen this time. When the news spread, who wouldn't laugh at Wang Jianmen's self-inflicted humiliation, and after Elder Feng returned, Wang Jianmen didn't say anything about what to do. Zhou Lang and Zhou Mintao have taken root in the shop since then, and they don't need black cats and beasts for trivial matters, and they will also buy some of their favorite food from outside to feed the 3 children, so that the 3 children can be comfortably served. Clothes. The 2 of them did not deduct the medicinal pills sold in the store and leave it to Qin Jianmen. They came completely according to the rules of the store owner. The better the reputation, the higher the price of the pills sold. Thinking of Zhang Hua and a few cultivators who had made a lot of money from the shop, they would occasionally come back to see and find out the price of the pills. We discovered it early, and no one noticed the store at that time, so the price of medicinal pills at that time was less than 1/7, or even 1/10 of what it is today. We kept enough for our own use, and the rest it's a piece of cake to take out the next one and turn it over 3 to 5 times, but later they discovered the origin of these medicinal pills, and we couldn't do this business. Hearing this, Zhou Mintao was very envious. Few sword cultivators thought they had too many spirit stones on them. Most sword cultivators were so poor. Oh, why haven't I encountered such a good thing? Zhang Hua came here to thank the shopkeeper specially. Several of them have taken top-quality medicinal pills during this period of time, and their cultivation has made great progress. They have also heard about the senior brother Zhou Lang, and said with a smile, "Don't be envious of us. I heard that deist Zhou Lang got the store owner's healing elixir. If the store owner makes a move, there are no ordinary goods. All of them are high-quality goods." Zhou Lang admitted this. "Yes, I have never taken such a good medicine asterisk." Zhang Hua and the others still envy these two brothers. It is a good thing to stay in the store. For some reason, they have an intuition. Since the two brothers can stay in the store, they can get their wish in the end, although others are listening. I find it unbelievable, how can that top quality 7 lights pill be so easy to refine? The third-grade alchemist outside can't make it, unless the third-grade alchemist in Lingzhou makes a move, or like the Su alchemist who appeared in Fengzhou last time, it is still possible. Zhou Lang didn't know if he should hold out his expectations, but this time was the most stable since he was injured, and he couldn't get the medicine Qinjianmen he took before. And Zhou Mintao continued to use his water-grinding kung fu, and he was close to the inch. After entering the store, he developed into the backyard. Even Zhou Lang was very embarrassed. When Zhou Mintao was teased by Yin Hua in the yard, it is very close to the time when the monks who entered the sword domain will come out. One day, Zhou Mintao suddenly said, "The guy surnamed Lu is about to come out. Of course, if he is still alive and well in Jianyu. As soon as he comes out, the guys in Wanjianmen will be rampant again. I don't know if the shop will be affected." Since Elder Fen was defeated and retreated, the disciples of Wanjianmen have never come to the shop to harass senior brother Zhou Lang, but the two sects have been killing each other for so long. If there is a great opportunity in the sword domain, if the cultivation base advances by leaps and bounds, Wanjianmen will be arrogant again asterisk. Guyao walked out of the room and looked in the direction of Jianyu. "Yeah, the people in Jianyu are about to come out. Zhou Lang, your brothers have helped us to see the shop for a long time, this medicine pill. Take it and take it." Guyao threw a jade bottle casually, and the posture of throwing it was very casual, which would make people feel that it was just a very ordinary medicine pill. But when Zhou Lang opened it, he trembled with excitement. 7. Yaodan. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 497. Zhou Mintao hurried to take a look, but it was not the top-quality Qi Yaodan. He was even more excited than his senior brother. Zhou Qi suppressed the desire in her heart and closed the bottle. "I can't take it, it's too precious." Qinjianmen couldn't ask for alchemy, also because Qinjianmen couldn't get what those third-rank alchemists in Lingzhou needed, and Qinjianmen wasn't just one of his disciples. How could he smash all the resources on him? Even if he didn't say it, other disciples and elders would protest. With the life-saving elixir that he coveted in front of him, it was difficult for Zhou Lang to restrain the urge to take it for himself. Zhou Lang's struggles Guyao can see in his eyes. For other people's precious medicinal pills, he can refine them as long as he gathers the materials. It is rare that this pair of senior brothers has caught his eye, and it is also because they have the patience to wait. Just because of that extremely small hope, there are many people who ask for pills, but it is only the two of them who persisted to the end, such as Zhou Lang. "Take it, since I can refine it. This medicine pill is not too rare for me. You have given a lot of food to the cubs during this time, and they also like you, so this medicine should be regarded as a reward." Zhou Mintao hurriedly thanked his senior brother. Thank you, boss, you are a good man." He was afraid that he would be a step too late, and the senior brother would have to go back. Zhou Lang knew that Guyao was worried that he felt that the value was too great to accept, so he would say such a thing. If he rejected it again, he would appear ignorant. Besides, he couldn't reject this medicinal pill. Yao Xing gave a big gift. "Thank you senior for giving the pill." He raised his head and reminded, "Senior should beware of Wanjianmen, it's not that Junior is talking right and wrong behind his back. If you see it, Wang Jianmen may not be able to bear the Psi, and it is likely that they will come back to find their predecessors. In addition to saving the original face, it is more likely that he has a fancy for the senior's pill technique. Thinking of these top-grade pills, he has some doubts about Gu Yao's identity, but the monks around him can't match the number. Maybe it is the spirit world. Other alchemists with superb alchemy skills appeared. Yes, Zhou Lang thought about whether Gu Yao might be the ancient alchemist who appeared in Anzhou, but Gu alchemist and another sword cultivator were loving Taoist companions, and there was another alchemist surnamed Su beside him. A blood slaughter monk with a fierce reputation, but Zhou Hu is a demon cultivator, but he is not a monk. He had never heard of an uncle surnamed Yin next to the ancient alchemist, so it should not be the one who appeared in Anzhou. Although the alchemist in Anzhou was more famous, he thought that the owner of this shop was. Alchemy is definitely not worse than that one, but he is usually more low-key. If Gu Yao knew what Zhou Lang was thinking, he would definitely not know whether to laugh or cry. Thinking of Wang Jianmen, Gu Yao nodded and said, "I see, don't worry, our small shop is not a place where people are allowed to run wild. The disciple of Wang Jianmen is about to come out, and Qi Changjai is also coming out. At that time, his identity will also be exposed. He doesn't believe that Wang Jianmen will come to the door without a long eye, and change to other second-rate first-rate. Power is still possible, Wang Jianmen is just a third-rate sect." He checked Zhou Lang's injuries and could only say that the cultivator who attacked him was too vicious. Whether it was because of Elder Feng or this Jiangziu surnamed Luo, his impression of Wang Jianmen was not very good. After talking about these, Gu Yao drove the two brothers back. It is important to take the medicine quickly to heal the wound, otherwise someone will come to ask for trouble, and if you are not careful, you will be injured and injured. After the senior brothers Zhou Lang returned to their residence, Zhou Mintao urged the senior brothers to retreat. Don't tell anyone about the pills beforehand. They didn't even tell the master, and ensured that the news would not leak out until the injury was healed. After Zhou Lang injured his foundation, many disciples in Qinjianmen followed suit, because Zhou Mintao had fought several times with the same sect. In the last period of time, Gu Yao did not open any more shops, and waited for the day when he would come out late at night. In the past, Yin Hua would have to make a few jokes, but now that he and Zhou Hu have also become Taoist partners, he always feels that there is no such thing as a joke. Nephew. Although he felt that he was stalked by Zhou Hu, this bastard, but if he really wanted to be separated from this guy for 3 years, he probably wouldn't be able to get used to it. Spray, people's habits are really terrible. Thinking about him, Yin Hua's rash person before, and glaring at Zhou Hu reluctantly after thinking about it, it's all the devil who has ruined him. In the sword domain, more than 20 sword cultivators have reached the depths of the sword field. There is a peculiar sword tree growing here. The sword tree is nurtured by the strong sword energy. Ordinary people can't even get close, but the sword cultivator can offset the sword. The sharp sword aura emanating from the tree. The sword tree that stood upright and inserted into the endless void, with limited branches growing sparsely, was also shaped like a sword, just like a sword was born from the tree. Such branches can be directly used as their own weapons when they are taken out. The branches with more years of growth will not be inferior to a treasure-level sword in texture. And the sword cultivators who arrived here, looked up at the few sword leaves, and the white fruit embedded in the tree, that is the sword fruit. Whether it is the sword leaf or the sword fruit, the sword cultivator in the spiritual world, in other words, it is more precious than any treasures from heaven and earth, and such good things have only been found in the sword region so far. Before they came in, Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing didn't know the existence of this treasure at all, but after arriving here, without anyone telling them, the surging and gentle sword qi they felt from the sword leaf and sword fruit could be used, and they knew that this is of great benefit to their sword cultivators, and they cannot give up no matter what. Let's cooperate. Qi Changjai watched other Jiangzi guard his gaze, and said to Yan Yuanjing, who was not far from him. The Jiangzi who can get here are not weak. Rather than being scattered and attacked by those guys, it is more beneficial for him to cooperate with Yan Yuanjing. Okay, we get 4 or 6 points from Jianyi and Jiangguo after cooperation, and I will give you 4 or 6. Yan Yuanjing also knew that cooperation was beneficial to them, and his strength was a little worse than Qi Changjai, and he didn't want to take advantage of Qi Changjai. Okay, Qi Changjai knew that this friend had always been very principled. They cooperated, and the others were not stupid. They who had despised Qi Changjai at first had gone through so many hardships in the sword domain, and sooner or later regarded Qi Changjai as the #1 enemy. They didn't even need to communicate with each other, they reached an agreement with just one look. First make concerted efforts to keep these two out, and then they will Jianyi and Jiangguo according to their abilities. Suddenly, a strange fragrance came out, and this strange fragrance made the sword energy in their bodies active. The sword fruit is ripe, hurry up. As soon as the voice came out, more than 20 figures in the same place immediately moved. First, a dozen figures rushed towards Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing, trying to intercept them, and the rest went to grab the sword leaves and more the important sword fruit. Just because their posture is a little weird, they can't fly, but they show their means to climb this sword tree. This sword tree is bred in a strange direction, and in the process of its growth, the concentrated sword energy will also form a natural restraint around the tree, that is, around the sword tree. Monks cannot fly, and their ability is greatly limited. They moved, and Qi Changjai's Yan Yuanjing's reaction was not slow. When he said it was too late, Yan Yuanjing stepped on Qi Changjai's shoulder. Qi Changjai pushed him up hard, and then Yan Yuanjing's figure disappeared. Jumping up a distance of more than 10 meters, and when those people rushed to Qi Changjai grabbed a rope in one hand and threw out a magic talisman in the other hand, bang bang bang, blowing up the sword cultivators who wanted to intercept him. People turned their backs on their horses, and he himself was lifted up by Yan Yuanjing. Hurry up and stop them, don't let them take the lead. Jiangzi below saw this and was about to scold. The surname Qi is still not Jiangzi. Is there someone who throws out a magic talisman like this? Throw our Jiangzi's face. Don't talk nonsense, we can learn from the methods of the two of them. The body of the tree is very thick and smooth. There is no place to fix the hand. Only by inserting the sword energy into the body of the tree can temporarily stabilize the body shape, and the sword energy will be absorbed by the body of the tree. There is no other way. Other options will be excluded. Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing cooperated very well. One person pushed up and the other pulled up again. In a blink of an eye, they jumped out dozens of meters. The swordsman below was so angry that he couldn't care to intercept them. It's important to try your best to climb up. The temporary camp quickly collapsed and disintegrated. Jiangguo, Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing were both very excited when they saw Jiangguo, and they had the idea of swallowing this Jiangguo in one bite. Put it away first, whoever is convenient will collect it, Qi Changjai urged. At the same time the cat was hit with another sword fruit, and the sword fruit was harvested first, because the effect of the sword fruit was more than 10 times that of the sword leaf. Because of harvesting the sword fruit, their speed slowed down, and they were caught up by the sword cultivators behind. Qi Changjai looked at the sword fruit above and said, Yandaiu, continue, I will stop them. Okay, Yan Yuanjing climbed up without hesitation. Qi Changjai sacrificed his own purple thunder sword, and there is a man who is in the position of Guan Wanfu, and is subject to the ban and the situation. The sword cultivators who came up behind really can't make a shot together, and there are Qi Changjai who intercepted and lost the sword. Xiu even fell down, but fortunately, the sword Qi shot in time, and he was able to stabilize his body so that he would not fall from the sky. Of course, this height can't really be seriously injured. However, after a long time, coupled with the suppression of the strength and cultivation here, some sword cultivators were still able to break through. Qi Changjai tried to stop the strong ones, and Yan Yuanjing would not be completely suppressed when the others passed. Ping ping pong pong, the fight on the tree became more and more fierce, and they all joined the competition for Jianyi Jiangguo. After seeing you in the long night, I will close, fellow Daoist Yan, let's go. Go. The figures of the two fell rapidly, which made the sword Xiu on the tree itch with hatred. Should he chase them away, or continue to compete for the sword fruit on the tree? If these two plucked all the sword leaves above, they could chase after them without hesitation. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 498. Some of them chased after them, and some of them stayed on the sword tree to fight for Jianyi and Jiangguo, but no matter which part of the people, they scolded these two for being too cunning. Instead of trying to it from them, it is better to stay and grab what is right in front of you. There is still a chance to grab it. If you chase after the two and leave, you may end up with nothing. Far enough away from the sword tree, everyone's strength has returned. Qi Changjai's purple thunder sword and spirit talisman shot at the same time, and Yan Yuanjing should not be underestimated, and quickly shook off the people behind him. Although Yan Yuanjing was reluctant to use anything other than swords to fight, he knew that time was more pressing for them now, so it was okay to be accommodating. After throwing away the people behind, the two found a secret place, and arranged layers of formations around them. It was important to take the time to absorb these sword leaves and sword fruits, and quickly convert them into strength. Unlike the others, the two did not need to take these sword leaves and sword fruits out. Qi Changjai was a loose sword cultivator, and Yan Yuanjing was similar. Although he had a master, this thing was of no use to his master. If they take these things out, there must be a lot of fierce battles. After the scramble on the Jianshu side, many people did not give up looking for Qi Changjai and their whereabouts. It is really too tempting for Jiangziu to gather the strength of everyone. Maybe they can find them. The sword leaf sword fruit from their body. This kind of scramble is allowed, even if they rob Yan Yuanjing, the sword demon will not trouble them after they leave the sword domain. But it wasn't until the two sword Qi shot into the sky that those sword cultivators discovered their traces. When Qi Changjai swept his sword into the air and looked down, he found that his strength jumped a small step, and the faces of the sword cultivators were extremely ugly. But had to hand over each other and leave. The cultivation base has risen in a short period of time, but why? At this time, everyone also thought of the special situation of these two people. There is no doubt that Jianyi Jiangguo was absorbed by them. Watching them leave, Qi Changjai glanced at the blue sky and said, "It's almost time, we should go to the exit." Yan Yuanjing nodded, "Yes, let's go." The two looked back and fled outside. The sword domain name is true, and the two have gained a lot of benefits in the sword domain. In addition to the heaven and earth treasures bred in the sword domain due to the special environment, they also encountered the remnants of the sword cultivator who sat here for a year. They spend a lot of time fighting against those remnants, improving their swordsmanship again and again. Qi Changjai didn't dare to underestimate these Canyon. In addition to retaining the original cultivator's swordsmanship, Canyon can also use the sword energy here to fight. Just like Xiaoqiang who can't be killed, there is never a time to get tired. When he fled away, there was a long roar left in place, which was the sound of Qi Changjai's purple thunder sword, like nostalgia and farewell. In addition to Qi Changjai himself, the natal sword, the purple thunder sword, has also grown tremendously, and he has become more and more commanding in his hands. When everyone gathered at the exit, Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing's shameless actions when they robbed the sword fruit had already been publicized. They stared at them with red eyes. These two were too extravagant. Guojing was completely absorbed by them. Is there really nothing left? Fellow Daoist Qi, Our Dian sword sect is willing to pay a sky-high price to buy the sword leaf sword fruit in the hands of fellow deists. A sword cultivator walked up to Chi Changjai and said. Chi Changjai raised his eyebrows slightly and said sorry, all of them were used up, and there was not one left. This Jiangzi looked at Chi Changjai suspiciously, but that was all he could do. Can he force Chi Changjai to open his storage ring for someone to check? Of course it's not possible. Well, I heard that Daiochi and Master Gu have no sections. The door of our Dian sword sect will always be open to the two deists. If you need it, please feel free to contact us. This sword cultivator left his sword order, through which he can quickly communicate information. In addition, his special mark is also left on the sword order. Seeing the order is like seeing a person, at least the disciples of the Dian sword sect see the sword order. It will be difficult to delay the long night. A gift of sword orders is a friend, not an enemy. Others scolded each and every one without worrying, but they were taken out by the Dian sword section. Others received jealous eyes, and they also went up to contact Chi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing. Chi Changjai's potential it has been fully demonstrated in the sword field training. As long as he does not have an accident, he will sooner or later become another powerful sword cultivator with amazing combat power in the spiritual world. Besides, in addition to his own great value, his Dao companion also has a promising future. To a certain extent, in Bizhu, Guyao, an alchemist with outstanding alchemy skills, is more popular with all sections. After all, Jianmen himself, you can't train a good alchemist. Luo Fiheng was quite complacent when he first entered the sword domain. He was in a third-rate sect, and it was not easy to grab such a spot. As long as he performed well in the sword domain and he had a chance to be seen by the first-rate sect after leaving, he would have turned over completely. But whoever entered the sword domain was not the heavens chosen among the sword cultivators. After Luo Fiheng came in, he realized that this place was not Wanjianmen. Although the heavenly chosen didn't show much disdain towards him, they never paid much attention to him. Instead, he was very enthusiastic about Chi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing, the two foreign sword cultivators. Either he led people to chase and block them, or this last pull, Luo Fiheng was jealous and angry. Isn't it just good luck, I became a disciple of the sword demon, otherwise who would recognize this as Yan Yuanjing? Really talented, so good, will it remain unknown for all these years? As for Chi Changjai, he was just flattering Yan Yuanjing and getting the light of the sword demon, and his Taoist companion Gu alchemist, so he really regarded himself as a character. Chi Changjai was greeting other sword cultivators when he received a hostile look. He glanced along his gaze. He had almost no impression of this sword cultivator. He really didn't have any particularly outstanding performances, so it was necessary to pay attention to it. Chi Changjai immediately forgot about it. As for the other sword cultivators, most people in the sword domain are upright, so Chi Changjai is also very happy to interact with them and the forces behind them. He and Guyao are destined to stand on the opposite side of Lingzhou. Strong foreign aid is naturally good. These 3 years are not all immersed in cultivation, and they will also communicate with other sword cultivators. From their mouths, they know that the relationship between Bizhu and Lingzhou is relatively delicate. Quite arrogant, the amount of elixir flowing from Lingzhou to Bizhu is also the smallest, especially the high-level elixir, which can be said to have blocked the lifeline of some sword cultivators. Chi Changjai talked with them while thinking about the future, and both parties were satisfied. Yan Yuanjing didn't think about it so much, he just wanted to find a place to retreat after leaving Jianyu, and settle the gains of the past 3 years. Come on, the green sky ahead was torn open by force, which was to pick them up. Go. Jiangziu, who came to the exit, drove the sword light one by one and swept towards the torn crack. Although he was a little embarrassed when he came in, the sword energy in his body was surging and sharp, and it could be seen that most people had harvested. Not small. Jiangziu, who was waiting outside, was also very satisfied when he saw this, but then he heard the voice transmission of the disciples of their respective sects, and looked at the two guys, Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing jealously, and actually snatched so many sword leaves and swords. Fruit, not afraid of eating too much. But after eating it, there was no way for people to spit it out, so they had to clasp their fists at the sword demon and go back with their respective disciples. "Where are you going, Xiao Qi?" the sword demon asked Qi Changjai specifically. Qi Changjai just contacted Guyao through Tongxin Bell and learned his location, so he said, "I'm going to Yuanguang City in Bizhu, Guyao is waiting for me there." The sword demon directly opened the space, threw Qi Changjai in, then rolled up Yan Yuanjing and went in the other direction. Qi Changjai still had Yan Yuanjing's voice in his ear, "When I get out of the customs, come back to Qi Dao. Friendship fight." Okay. When Qi Changjai came out of the space crack, there happened to be a city in front of him. He searched for someone to find out, and it happened to be Yuanguang City. He was very grateful to the sword demon. He saved a lot of travel and could see Xiao right away. Sensing that Qi Changjai was getting closer and closer, Guyao stood up excitedly, said a word to the uncles in the yard and ran out. The shop has not been opened, and the senior brother is in retreat again. Zhou Mintao had to come to take care of the third child. He was surprised to see Guyao suddenly running out, especially Yin Hua's face showed that kind of ambiguous expression. Zhou Mintao said that he could not see it. Understood. Zhou Hu laughed, after 3 years of separation, can't make Xiao excited? You also know that their relationship has always been good. 3 years. Zhou Mintao digged his ears, but he didn't quite understand. At this moment, he received a message from the same sect and exclaimed, "No, the sword domain is open, the monk who entered the sword domain has returned, and the guy named Luo from Wanjianmen is still alive." Yin Hua said with a smile, "I'll go back as soon as I get back. Is there any need to make a fuss? He's not the only one who went to the sword region. There are quite a few sword cultivators in this northern state. They have stayed in Yuanguang City for a few years, and they have also heard a lot of stories about Jiangzilu. This surnamed Lu is really nothing." Zhou Mintao was anxious because his fellow disciples told him that the disciples of Wanjianmen became mad again when they heard the news that Luo Fiheng had come back alive. Now the disciples of Qinjianmen did not want to provoke them, so they had to avoid them when they encountered them outside. Yin Hua refused to accept the move, so Zhou Mintao had to stomp his feet and go back, guarding his senior brother to go out. Qi Changjai and Guyao were getting closer and closer, and the concentric bells on the two of them also made a sweet sound, which only they could hear. This sound seemed to represent their heartfelt voice. On the streets of Xianxiao, one south and one north, two figures looked at each other from a distance. The crowd in the middle was ignored by them, and they strode towards each other at the same time until there was no one blocking them in the middle. "Brother Ye, how is your trip?" Qi Changjai picked up a strand of hair that fell from Guyao's forehead, put it behind his ear, then took his hand, turned and walked to the store side by side with him. "I'm fine, Jianyu is a very good place, the store. How's the situation? No one is here to make trouble, right?" Guyao smiled and said, "I beat the people who came to make trouble." This book is exclusively published by Liancheng Reading, please do not reprint. The official account searches Liancheng to read, give members, and receive benefits. Qi Changjai was greeting other sword cultivators when he received a hostile look. He glanced along his gaze. He had almost no impression of this sword cultivator. He really didn't have any particularly outstanding performances, so it was necessary to pay attention to it. Qi Changjai immediately forgot about it. As for the other sword cultivators, most people in the sword domain are upright, so Qi Changjai is also very happy to interact with them and the forces behind them. He and Guyao are destined to stand on the opposite side of Lingzhou. Strong foreign aid is naturally good. These 3 years are not all immersed in cultivation, and they will also communicate with other sword cultivators. From their mouths, they know that the relationship between Bizhu and Lingzhou is relatively delicate. Quite arrogant, the amount of elixir flowing from Lingzhou to Bizhu is also the smallest, especially the high-level elixir, which can be said to have blocked the lifeline of some sword cultivators. Qi Changjai talked with them while thinking about the future, and both parties were satisfied. Yan Yuanjing didn't think about it so much, he just wanted to find a place to retreat after leaving Jianyu, and settle the gains of the past 3 years. Come on, the green sky ahead was torn open by force, which was to pick them up. Go. Jiangziu, who came to the exit, drove the sword light one by one and swept towards the torn crack. Although he was a little embarrassed when he came in, the sword energy in his body was surging and sharp, and it could be seen that most people had harvested. Not small. Jiangziu, who was waiting outside, was also very satisfied when he saw this, but then he heard the voice transmission of the disciples of their respective sects, and looked at the two guys, Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing jealously, and actually snatched so many sword leaves and swords. Fruit, not afraid of eating too much. But after eating it, there was no way for people to spit it out, so they had to clasp their fists at the sword demon and go back with their respective disciples. Where are you going, Xiao Qi? The sword demon asked Qi Changjai specifically. Qi Changjai just contacted Guyao through Tongxin Bell and learned his location, so he said, I'm going to Yuanguang City in Bizhu, Guyao is waiting for me there. The sword demon directly opened the space, threw Qi Changjai in, then rolled up Yan Yuanjing and went in the other direction. Qi Changjai still had Yan Yuanjing's voice in his ear, when I get out of the customs, come back to Qi Dao. Friendship fight. Okay. When Qi Changjai came out of the space crack, there happened to be a city in front of him. He searched for someone to find out, and it happened to be Yuanguang City. He was very grateful to the sword demon. He saved a lot of travel and could see Xiao right away. Sensing that Qi Changjai was getting closer and closer, Guyao stood up excitedly, said a word to the uncles in the yard and ran out. The shop has not been opened, and the senior brother is in retreat again. Zhou Mintao had to come to take care of the third child. He was surprised to see Guyao suddenly running out, especially Yin Hua's face showed that kind of ambiguous expression. Zhou Mintao said that he could not see it. Understood. Zhou Hu laughed, after 3 years of separation, can't make Xiao excited? You also know that their relationship has always been good. 3 years. Zhou Mintao digged his ears, but he didn't quite understand. At this moment, he received a message from the same sect and exclaimed, no, the sword domain is open, the monk who entered the sword domain has returned, and the guy named Luo from Wanjianmen is still alive. Yin Hua said with a smile, I'll go back as soon as I get back. Is there any need to make a fuss? He's not the only one who went to the sword region. There are quite a few sword cultivators in this northern state. They have stayed in Yuanguang City for a few years, and they have also heard a lot of stories about Jiangziu. This surnamed Lu is really nothing. Zhou Mintao was anxious because his fellow disciples told him that the disciples of Wanjianmen became mad again when they heard the news that Luo Fiheng had come back alive. Now the disciples of Qinjianmen did not want to provoke them, so they had to avoid them when they encountered them outside. Yin Hua refused to accept the move, so Zhou Mintao had to stomp his feet and go back, guarding his senior brother to go out. Qi Changjai and Guyao were getting closer and closer, and the concentric bells on the two of them also made a sweet sound, which only they could hear. This sound seemed to represent their heartfelt voice. On the streets of Xianxiao, one south and one north, two figures looked at each other from a distance. The crowd in the middle was ignored by them, and they strode towards each other at the same time until there was no one blocking them in the middle. Brother Ye, how is your trip? Qi Changjai picked up a strand of hair that fell from Guyao's forehead, put it behind his ear, then took his hand, turned and walked to the store side by side with him. I'm fine, Jianyu is a very good place. The store. How's the situation? No one is here to make trouble, right? Gu Yao smiled and said, I beat the people who came to make trouble. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 499. In the shop, before Gu Yao brought Qi Changjai back, Yin Hua knew that his nephew had left them behind and reunited with Qi Changjai alone. Zhou Lang has passed the test. The top-grade Qi Yao pill not only has a good name, but after absorbing all the medicinal power, not only the damaged foundation has been repaired, but also the cultivation base has improved slightly compared with that before the injury. The thing is to come to the store and want to thank Gu Yao. According to the combined property of him and his junior brother, it is not enough to pay for this medicine pill. Zhou Lang thought that after his strength recovered, he would help Gu Yao and the others to take care of the shop in his spare time. Do something more. As soon as Zhou Lang came to Yin Hua, he could see his state. Before, the aura on his body was stagnant in many places, but now it is different. The whole person's expression has also changed a little. Also, if there is no way to repair the foundation, Zhou Lang, this life is abolished, and there is no way to take a step forward. How can this person not be depressed? Now there is an infinite future. Looking for my nephew, Yin Hua said with a smile. He went to pick up his man, and now I don't know where he is, leaving my uncle aside. Zhou Hu wiped his face. Can he ignore such a big man standing on the side? Zhou Lang also found it funny when he saw Zhou Hu's appearance. It turns out that the boss's Taoist companion is back. The boss's Taoist companion must be as good as the boss. Yin Hua pouted and wanted to belittle him, but when he thought about it, it was impossible for this guy not to come back, and he would not be allowed to reveal his secrets, but he said unwillingly, it's so, it's not as good as my nephew anyway. Zhou Lang also said sincerely, that is, the boss is too low-key, otherwise he would have become famous in the spiritual world. Yin Hua smiled proudly, and Zhou Hu couldn't help rolling his eyes. Actually, he and Yin Hua's nephew and his nephew's Taoist companion are almost famous in the spiritual world. Zhou Mintao came in from the outside. First, he was happy with his senior brother's exit, and then he talked about what he had seen outside. Because of the end of the sword field training, Bizhu was talking about the sword cultivators who came out this time, arguing who would be this time the biggest winners of Jianyu Lilian. Several disciples from first-class sects are naturally their favorite objects. Senior brother, you don't know that fellow Daoist Yanyu Enjing, a disciple of the sword demon, also entered the sword domain. By the way, Qi Changjai, the sword cultivator who made his name in Anzhou last time, was also sent in by the sword demon. Haha, so many people are looking for them. I didn't expect them to go to Jianyu. Zhou Lang was a little surprised, but when he thought about it, he took it for granted. With the identity of the sword demon, sending 2 sword cultivators in, no one in the entire Bizhu would talk about it. Most of the time, the sword demon would advance and retreat with Bizhu. Besides, people who don't agree can't beat the sword demon. Zhou Mintao said and laughed, Senior brother, you didn't expect it. There is still talk about where is the ancient alchemist, the Taoist companion of Daoichi. There has been no news about him in the past few years, but we don't need us worry. A sword demon and a blood slaughter senior are enough to ensure that no one dares to deceive them. At the beginning, they also thought about finding the whereabouts of the ancient alchemist. They wanted to ask the ancient alchemist to make alchemy, or the Su alchemist behind him, but just like everyone else, since the dark state, this line of business has completely disappeared. There are many, but no one can find them. Except for one place where the ancient alchemist can be contacted, that is Dingxian Pavilion and Dingxian Pavilion's young master Zhang Jingfeng, because every once in a while there will be medicinal pills refined by the ancient alchemist, but unfortunately the price is so high that their teachers the brothers stayed away. Just when Yinhua and Zhou were amused, the door of the shop outside was slammed and banged. Zhou's senses changed, his face changed immediately. "No, please come to the door, it's from Wang Jianmen." "People." Zhou Mintao jumped up when he heard it. "They are really here, just rely on the surname Lu's name to be arrogant, and I haven't heard of any first-class sect that wants to absorb the surname Luo." Zhou immediately activated the formation to guard the store and the backyard. The two monks who were about to break in outside were bombarded by the activated protection formation. Yinhua flew into the air and saw the door of the store. The first group of more than a dozen cultivators was not headed by the old man surnamed Feng. "Who is Suanhua? If the shop doesn't open, it means it won't open. Please wait until it opens," Yinhua said coldly, looking at the group of monks below. Zhou Mintao followed and flew into the air, seeing those people's pupils shrinking suddenly. "Luo Fiheng. Good you, Fiheng, you can't wait to come here to stand up as soon as you came out of Jianyu. Senior brother, I'll just say they're here, haha, they really thought they could run into an ancient alchemist anywhere and give them a top quality pill to help them heal their wounds. What about Zhou Lang? Didn't heal the injury? Haha, it's just my senior brother's defeat." Zhou Mintao, Luo Fiheng, who was guarded by the same door in the middle, looks like a dog, which can attract the attention of some female cultivators in the surrounding. "We, Wang Jianmen, sincerely invite the owner of the shop to join me, and I, Luo Fiheng, hereby urge the owner to come out and see." "Please? Sincerely invite? Humph, I think you're a tough guy. The owner of the shop has already said that it was you Wang Jianmen who didn't follow the rules from the very beginning. Fellow deists, go back. Although the shop owner is not here, I can fully represent the shop owner's wishes. I will not accept any solicitation from any force. Please follow the rules of the shop if you have something to do," Yinhua said lightly with a fluff of his sleeves. "Since the owner is not here, then we will wait until the owner returns," Luo Fiheng put on a sincere attitude. There were many discussions among the monks watching. Some people thought that the attitude of Wang Jianmen and Lu Fiheng was good and sincere, and they came to invite. It is not too much to ask the owner to join Wang Jianmen. Wang Jianmen is also one of the best forces in this area. Luo Fiheng has great potential, and it is not impossible to bring Wang Jianmen to a second-rate sect in the future. Some people also sprayed it back on the spot. With the top-quality medicinal pills sold in the store, it doesn't matter which first-class sect they want to join. Will they take a third-rate sect seriously? If it's clear, I think Wang Jianmen is not qualified enough, and come back when you develop into a second-rate or even a first-rate sect. Luo Fiheng has potential, but he is not the only one who has potential. There are nearly 100 sword cultivators coming out of the sword domain this time. Luo Fiheng is not the top among these sword cultivators. Not all of them climbed the tripod, and many died on the way. Isn't that difficult for the strong? You Wang Jianmen have made it clear that our shop is small, and you have to force us to surrender, right? I tell you, it's impossible. Now the owner of the shop is back, let's see how you can force the shop. The master agrees. Yinhua saw the two people coming from a distance, and the first time that Wang Jianmen came to the door, Yinhua notified Gu Yao and asked him and Qi Changjai to come back quickly to put out the fire. Although there is a formation, but the current main formation is Zhou, and the protection of the formation is naturally inferior. If they really want to fight, they really can't do anything about Wang Jianmen. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai, who were dashing outside, saw the news and had to interrupt their world to rush back. During the reunion, Gu Yao talked about the situation of the store during this time, including staying for two. A disciple of Qin Jianmen and the conflict with Wang Jianmen, he also specifically asked Qi Changjai's impression of Luo Fiheng. Unfortunately, Qi Changjai's impression of this person is not very good. When Luo Fiheng heard this, he hurriedly turned his head and looked back. The other monks onlookers also saw the two monks walking side by side in a hurry. The calm aura on them made them involuntarily move out of the way. One of them is the owner of the shop. I saw it last time, but unfortunately I don't like to show up very often. Later, I left the business of the shop to the two disciples of Kinjianmen. Who is the other cultivator? He doesn't look weak at all, but he is even more imposing. Long night, Luo Fiheng exclaimed in disbelief when he saw that this man's soul was about to fly. What? Qi Changjai? He is Qi Changjai, who is the owner of the shop. Could it be that, the owner of the shop is Qi Changjai's Taoist companion Guyao, alchemist? Oh my god. Is it possible that you cheated late at night? Bah. You just cheated. I didn't hear other people talking about Qi Changjai's 5 years in Jianyu. Where did he have the time to cheat? Gu alchemist is not a sword cultivator, so he has no way to enter Jianyu, so he just waited outside. Well, it should be said that we have eyes but don't know Mount Tai, but we didn't expect that the ancient alchemist was staying right under our noses, and we didn't recognize any of them. Knowing that it was Qi Changjai and Guyao, many monks on the crowd were screaming. There were many monks who worshipped them, and the legend about Guyao was true. This shop sold almost the best quality products. Dan, this proves that his alchemy skills are superb. Luo Fiheng still couldn't believe that the shop they were looking for belonged to Guyao. He didn't get the favor of the major sect, which made him very unconvinced. Instead, he was welcomed by many sects that Qi Changjai. Thinking, Qi Changjai was smeared with the light of the sword demon, or because of the cheapness of his Taoist companion, without those top-quality medicinal herbs, how could Qi Changjai progress so quickly? So when I came back and heard that there was an alchemist specializing in high-quality pills in Yuanguang City, Luo Fiheng rushed over with the same sect without thinking. He didn't believe that he couldn't compare to Qi Changjai or the disciples of those great sects. But, in the spiritual world, it is said that it is infinitely large, but it can be said to be small and very small. Others have a feeling of no wonder this shop was opened when Jianyu opened Lilian, Guyaoan and Zhou disappeared, and an inconspicuous shop in Yuanguang City appeared. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 500. It's Qi. I don't know what is the responsibility of everyone from Wanjianmen who came to the store. Qi Changjai and Guyao walked forward step by step, and asked in a light voice, but no one present dared to underestimate him. Guyao alone can drive away the elder Feng of Wanjianmen. Everyone does not think that Qi Changjai's combat power is inferior to Guyao. Luo Fiheng's eyes kept lingering on Qi Changjai and Guyao, and the ugliness became more and more ugly, and even angered his fellow disciple and elder Feng. If it weren't for them, why would he come here to humiliate himself? I picked it up and threw it into the sun. At the same time, elder Feng also flashed a lot of thoughts in his mind, and regretted that he had gotten into such a bad star. Luo Fiheng said embarrassedly, no. Luo Mao just wanted to visit the shop owner. It turns out that the shop owner is the ancient alchemist. Luo Mao has offended him a lot. Offending the alchemist Guyao was more serious than offending the sword cultivator Qi Changjai. Luo Fiheng couldn't take this risk. At this time, the store's protective formation was withdrawn, the store door opened, and the people inside walked out quickly, including the two brothers Zhou Lang. The two brothers are still in a trance, thanks to the fact that they had ruled out the identity of the owner of the shop before, thinking that it could not be Guyao, and also felt that the owner was more low-key than Guyao, otherwise the reputation would not be lower than him, but the truth is contrary to what they thought. The shop owner and the ancient alchemist were the same person. It's no wonder that when they mentioned the matter of Jianyu, the reactions of Yinhua and Guyao were not the same, especially Guyao, who often showed longing and joy. Isn't it because Qi Changjai is coming out? I have never heard of Guyao having an uncle. It only means that they have little knowledge, but it does not mean that Guyao does not have an uncle. When Gu Yao and Qi Changjai came back, Yin Hua froze and said with his arms on his hips, "I just knew that I was cool outside, and I was almost bullied to death for leaving my uncle in the shop." The disciples of Wang Jianmen were blushing, embarrassed. Who was bullied by? But it's not their Wang Jianmen. The onlookers almost laughed when they heard it, and at the same time envied Yin Huaninj for having such a nephew as Gu Yao. By looking at their cultivation, they knew how talented this nephew was. They all rushed to the front of their uncle. The old man, when he came to him, turned around and gnawed on the younger generation. How come they don't have a nephew like Gu Yao? This is the voice of many monks, who despise their children, grandchildren, nephews, and nephews. The corner of Gu Yao's mouth twitched, but he didn't leave Yuanguang City. Where is it that his uncle said it was so serious? Zhou Lang and Zhou Mintao formally greeted Gu Yao and the others. Junior Zhou Lang, Zhou Mintao, has seen Master Gu and Senior Qi. Gu Yao lifted them up with spiritual power in his virtual hands. At the same time, he sensed Zhou Lang's physical condition and completely recovered. This is also a happy thing. Let's go in and talk. Then he turned to face the other monks. The other owner of the shop has returned, so the owner is happy. The shop will open tomorrow to give back to everyone. Everyone remember to visit. The crowd immediately cheered, and all kinds of good words should not be spread out like a spirit stone. Originally, there was a little reverence for Qi Changjai, but these words quickly shortened the distance between them. Who would have thought of the famous ancient alchemist? Has such a friendly side. There were also monks who wanted Gu Yao to put more medicinal pills out, so they bragged about how well their husbands were a match, a pair made in heaven, and the complexion of Qi Changjai softened a lot, so the rainbow fart became more and more vigorous. Gu Yao took his uncle back to the shop together, waved his hand to the back, and let everyone disperse. Zhou Lang and Zhou Mintao also followed Gu Yao and the others into the store, and the disciples of Wang Jianmen suddenly screamed, "Zhou Lang, your injury is healed. Have you got the top grade 7 lights pill?" The sound was louder than the sound, so it was heard by many people. The cheers were reduced a lot, and they pricked up their ears to listen to what Zhou Lang said. Zhou Lang didn't dare to say it at first, but now Gu Yao's identity has been revealed, and seeing that Gu Yao didn't stop him, he said, "Yes, it was Gu Alchemist who gave the pill. My Zhou Lang's injury is completely healed, and it will not affect the future. Cultivation, Master Gu is my benefactor of Zhou Lang. And me, and I, Zhou Mintao, saving my brother's life is equivalent to saving his life." The crowd outside exploded again. Even before, everyone didn't think that Gu Yao could refine the top quality 7 lights pill. The one who could refine it was the alchemist Su standing behind him. Now Zhou Lang came out to admit it, which means that he was leaving Fengzhou. During this period of time, how fast the progress of Gu Yao's alchemy technique was. Obviously, the value of Gu Yao is much higher than before. The store door was closed and the formation was activated, but this time no one dared to disturb the people inside. It's just that the crowd gathered outside has dispersed for a long time, and it can also be a little bit more of a genius alchemist's breath if you stay for a while. Even if he didn't leave, all kinds of communications flew from here to all directions, and the news that Gu Yao was in Yuanguang City quickly spread. The city lord of the city received the news that it was too late to tell the time. The formation of the store had already started. He felt that he valued this small store. Let the guards in the city take more care of it, and don't let outsiders disturb it, but now that I know the identity of the shop owner, I feel that what I have done is far from enough. No matter how important such an alchemist is. The best quality 7 lights pill, can that be made by a third-grade alchemist? Totally impossible. Such a genius is right in front of his eyes. He didn't even know it. He missed a good opportunity to get closer. Fortunately, he didn't offend the owner in the past few years. Otherwise, the consequences would be disastrous. Think about the situation of Wang Jianmen today. You know, Wang Jianmen has been scolded to death by everyone. Now, it is estimated that many forces are willing to please Guyao alchemist by distancing themselves from Wang Jianmen or even doing a little more. What is a Fi Hung? Don't forget that Qi Changjai also entered the sword domain, and I heard that the sword cultivators who entered the sword domain this time belonged to Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing, who were the largest family members. With the closure of Jianyu, all kinds of related news spread quickly. No doubt Qi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing are the targets of much attention. Qin Jianmen used to have some high-level objections to senior brother Zhou Lang's actions, but now they are all fortunate, especially Zhou Lang can practice again, which means that the lost status has come back, and even because of the relationship with Guyao, this status is higher. The high-level executives held a special meeting to discuss what to do, and wanted to use this to further strengthen the relationship with Guyao. Some people had objections before, because the brothers Zhou Lang did not take the opportunity to take care of the shop to gain more benefits for Qin Jianmen. In the end, it was brother Zhou Lang's master who said, "Don't hold back, how you dealt with it in the past, and how you will deal with it in the future, so as not to add too much. As long as the ancient alchemist is still opening a shop in Yuanguang City, we will have the opportunity to compete with other forces to compete for those medicinal pills." The sect master agreed, "That's right, just do it like this, otherwise, do you think that our Qin Jianmen can come up with something that can be seen by the ancient alchemist?" As soon as these words came out, many people in the audience were embarrassed. Qin Jianmen was poor. Otherwise, they could fight for the top quality 7 lights pill for Zhou Qi. You must know that Zhou Lang's talent is not inferior to Luo Fi Hung. Many people blushed and said, "Then listen to the head, we will go to the store to bid in person tomorrow morning, and we will buy as many as we can." Dian Sword Sect. What? Qi Changjai went to Yuanguang City? His Taoist partner, alchemist Gu, opened a small shop in Yuanguang City in recent years? No one from our sect has reported such a big thing. What are they doing? Because of the disciples' return, the Dian Sword sect naturally knew about Qi Changjai's talent and potential, so they were very concerned about his movements. I didn't expect that the news of his Taoist companion came first. After checking, this humble shop it has been open in Yuanguang City for 5 years. Although the opening time is very casual, but I don't know how many top-grade pills have been sold in the 5 years. The top management of the Dian Sword sect felt that they had missed out on 5 years. Sect master, it's really because Yuanguang City is too far away, plus it's just a third-rate city where scattered cultivators live together, so it's natural to not pay attention to it. Excuse. It's all excuses. I don't believe that top-grade pills can still be ignored. It's clear that Yuanguang City has deliberately blocked relevant information from the outside world, and your attitude is too light. Although the Yanjian sect is a first-class sect, they can count the top-grade pills they get from Lingzhou every year with one hand. If they noticed it right away, how many top-grade pills they could grab with their financial resources in the past 5 years. The cultivator who came to report also had a guilty conscience. How could he not have thought of what the sect master thought, and his heart bleeds with regret. I don't care, I will send someone there immediately. By the way, let Xia Yuans make a trip in person and bring a heavy gift to meet Qi Changjai. Let Xia Yuans go to meet Qi Changjai. The goal is not Qi Changjai, but to send this generous gift to Guyao through him. Even if the Dian Sword sect is a first-class sect, the head does not want to follow the footsteps of Wanjian section. Yao was offended. Whether it was the sword demon or the blood slaughter monk behind them, none of them were easy to mess with. Yes, I'm going to inform junior nephew Yuans. The person who came here felt silent for Xia Yuans. Just after returning, Xia Yuans was going to retreat and settle down after reporting the matter. How could he think that he would have another mission? The same scene happened in many sects in Bizhu. Most of them couldn't make time for the second day's elixir bidding, and chose to do the same with the Dian Sword section. They approached Qi Changjai first through the fate forged in Jianyu, See, after a long night, Guya will naturally be seen. Of course, courtesy is also indispensable. Just a moment ago, there were people who hated Qi Changjai so much because of Jianyi and Jiangguo, but they didn't expect to receive an order the next moment, asking them to approach Qi Changjai and get closer to each other. This is an order. Who can be better than them?